Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. It was a poor session yesterday. The markets, of course, reeling under a lot of selling pressure. That FII number was a really big, stark one. We are, of course, one day. This is a session, and then we go into a midweek holiday. Wednesday is a market holiday, so there is that to boot as well. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Nigel and Rima is with us today. Guys, hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Do you get the feeling that the season's changing? It's so much warmer in Bombay. IMD has issued a heat wave. Another question is, if the season is changing, is the market, also going to change a bit?
Well,
that's the hope.
Mood is very, very somber, and I think we could see more of the same maybe till mid of March, and then hopefully things recover towards the end of the fiscal. But mood is extremely somber as we speak. And yesterday's session gave you good reason, to be rather somber. The only bright spot was few stocks did well. So still pick and choose. The breadth of the market wasn't that bad. But I think we'll talk about that in more detail.
Absolutely. But that heat wave, you're absolutely right. Heat wave in February, right?
And there was, I heard there was no electricity in your building.
But it was an incident, and thankfully everybody was safe. So, but yeah, it was a warm night, and anyway, let's just hope things for the market look a little better. And we've got just to sort of take it from the top where we begin tracking things. US equities last night lower. Nasdaq down about 1.2% or so. S&P was down about a half a percent. The 10-year yield 3 basis points lower to about 4.4%. Dollar index about 0.25% higher to 106.7. Actually, on both yields and the dollar, it's more of the same. On Friday, we had that big crack. Bonds went up, yields went down, and we saw that same continuation in that sense. Dollar went up on Friday as well, so there is that. But of course, compared to the equity sell-off that we saw on Friday, last night was a bit milder, but still in the Nasdaq, that's about 1.2%. Now, in terms of news flow, you had the French President, Macron, visiting the White House, and there was a press conference. And they both sounded their commitment to ending the Ukraine war. Macron, of course, saying that, well, peace should not mean a surrender, to surrender Ukraine or the Ukrainian position. But of course, both agreed that Europe needs to do more to take care of its own security and not depend entirely on the United States. On tariffs, and this was, of course, not about tariffs, but there was a question with regards to tariffs in Mexico and Canada, which, as has been advertised, will come into effect in March. And, Trump was asked whether those are on track, and he said, well, they will go forward. So presumably that happens next week. Some other news flow, stock-specific, company-specific. This is all from the tech space. Microsoft reportedly has cancelled its AI data center capacity in the US. There was another report in this publication called The Information, which essentially said that they're now also going to steer away from what OpenAI wants to do with Stargate, which is, of course, the project, the AI build-out project, which was announced from the White House with, 3 or 4 players coming together. But Microsoft seems to be pedaling back a little bit. Stock was not anything, it was not big damage, down about 1% or so, but I think it's going to be something important to watch. Alibaba was down 10%. Trump called for limiting spending on in China on technology and other strategic sectors. So that's been the big one, right? I mean, it's up about 55%, maybe 60% even after yesterday's fall, YTD. NVIDIA earnings tomorrow in the same sort of AI tech space. And I think this is going to be important when we come back on Thursday morning. No markets tomorrow. So that's the news flow. Nothing dramatic in that sense, one way or the other. It was broadly lower as far as US equities go. Now, to sort of summarize the levels here, the market broke the support of 22,600 yesterday. 22,620 was the level that we put out, and we traded under it. We closed under it. Nothing, it's not a significant break, but we're below it. So that's the first. And then, of course, the downside level is 22,396. That's another sort of, 200 points away from where we are as of yesterday. And if all of this has got to be negated, we got to take out the prior high of 23,050. That's the upside level, which the Nifty needs to break out above. No signs of that as of yet. Bank Nifty also broke its previous low. Downside level, similarly, for the Nifty Bank is 47,844. And that's about 2% away from where we left off. And breaking above the high of 49,628 will be good for the Nifty Bank. But again, here, for a while, it was looking like the Nifty Bank Nifty is going to be outperforming, and it was outperforming the Nifty, but that's also followed in line. Relatively, it's lost less as compared to the Nifty, but yesterday it broke the earlier low. GIFT Nifty will come up on your screen, gives you an indication how we're likely to start. It's a flattish start, down about 20 points or so. Guys.
Well, I think the big story overnight is the kind of selling we've seen from FIs in the Indian market. So yesterday, the FIs sold 6,300 crore in the cash market. The DIIs bought, but they bought 5,200 crore, but it's a very large sell figure from the FIs. So unabated selling pressure has now taken the FI selling to 43,000 crore in the month of February. And there's always that fear, right? Money's moving out of India into other markets. And year to date, just look at MSCI China versus MSCI India. MSCI China is up 16.5%, while the MSCI India index is down close to about 7%. In rupee terms, the Nifty is down a little more than about 4%. The mood across Asia is also very, very somber. This whole, the fact that tariffs are back has hit market sentiment. It's a deep cut across Hang Seng. That's down nearly about 1.6%. Taiwan is down 1%. The Chinese markets are down close to about 0.5%. Bank of Korea, in other news, has cut interest rates by 25 basis points. It's the lowest at 2.75% current rates. It's the lowest since August of 2022. And this is the third rate cut by the Bank of Korea in the last 4 meetings. What to watch today? Remember, it's a truncated week. Tomorrow, Indian markets are shut. But today, you've got BSE's monthly expiry, and the Nifty expiry will take place on Thursday. IMD has issued a heat wave alert in Mumbai on 25th and 26th. That's today and tomorrow. In terms of U.S. economic data, it's consumer confidence, house price index, and there's also the Tata Steel investor meet. And then you've got the NASSCOM, the Assam Summit, etc., that investors will be watching out for headlines.
Well, that's right. Not too many positives in yesterday's trading session, but one positive was the Nifty Bank. That was fighting back from the low point of the day. So that was good news, actually, because it came off closer around 350 to around 400 points. And we're looking at an index that won't be worried by Trump's tariffs. And, it's more domestic facing in nature, and valuations are fairly okay. That'll have to be the Nifty Bank. So good recovery is what we saw in yesterday's trading session. The other one is the India VIX. It cooled off yesterday. It didn't spike up on a day that the Nifty was low by close to around 250 points. So that's another positive that I'll be looking at as well. Cooling down of the VIX is something that normally sends out a more positive signal. Next up, what do the FIs do? Not just they're selling in the cash market. They feel that they're in control of these markets because the kind of shorts that they're adding, they're already sitting on elevated net short positions, and they've added close to around 11,000 contracts, which means that, in fact, the short positioning is at around 85%. And the last few sessions we were mentioning, right, that the FI net short positions at around 1.7, 1.8, 1.85 lakh contracts. Take a look at it. In a matter of a few sessions, from 1.85 lakh contracts, it's now at around 2 lakh contracts. So they have aggressively net short. So, at some point of time, you'll expect them to cover up the shorts, but for the time being, they're very much in control. And there's no signs of them covering shorts because of the cash market selling that we are seeing. The other technical factor that will favor the bulls for a technical bounce. Remember, the structure is very, very weak on the Nifty. But when we have seen that the PCR moves to around 0.65 to around 0.67, from there, we normally see a bit of a bounce. Yesterday, it ended at around 0.71. So I think at some point of the day, that PCR could move down to that crucial technical level of around 0.65 to around 0.67. And from there, I don't rule out a bit of a bounce in today's trading session. So that's going to be important. Since we have expiry that's going to be playing out in the next couple of days, and this is the monthly expiry, there it appears there's a short straddle at place at around 22,600. That is, you write both these two strikes, you pocket the premium, which is roughly around 200 rupees or thereabouts, and you add 200 rupees to 22,600 and you deduct it from there, which gives you a broad range. On the downside, 22,400 seems to be, the level that the bulls will want to protect. And on the upside, it seems it's 22,800 odd mark. So it's a broad 400-point range. Remember, tomorrow is a holiday, so we just have today. And then you have Thursday, where monthly expiry does play out. Moving to the Nifty Bank. That's the one that fought back in yesterday's trading session. But what can change things of sorts is, on a day-to-day basis, it's been making lower highs, as you can see. So today you'll wanted to trade above these levels, and in fact you'll wanted to defend yesterday's low as well, which was roughly at around 48,200 or thereabouts. So that's a crucial support level for the Nifty Bank, 48,000 to around 48,200 or thereabouts. And just one factor, in yesterday's trading session, the breadth of the market wasn't so bad. You had around 600, 650 stocks that are advancing. And one cue as well is look out for some promoter buying. There is select mid-cap, so you're seeing promoter buying. So I think that should be on your radar as well. That's normally a good sign.